One, looks like I'm live on both Facebook and Instagram. What's going on, guys? If you feel like you are constantly strapped for time, if you feel like you are always looking for ways that you can increase the amount of time you have, or you feel like you're just looking for ways to, optimize and, adopting positive habit patterns, bringing in more effective lifestyle methodologies is something that just always seems out of your grasp. And it's because you don't have enough time. Well, this video is for you. Now, recently, I have been going through sort of a slump in a way, right? And we've all had these experiences, and especially, more so in, earlier years of my life, before I was kind of doing something that I really enjoyed doing on a daily basis. This is something that I would experience pretty often, right? I was working jobs that I didn't want to work. I was going and studying things that I didn't necessarily want to study. I didn't realize it, but I was also participating in a lot of activities that I just didn't really want to participate in, hanging out with people I just didn't really want to hang out with, quite simply because I was, filling a void in a way. And whether or not I was, deeply conscious of this, right? These were times when I would regularly experience very low energy. The reality is that for most of us, we are living in this relatively unconscious manner. And it's almost like we're fighting against the external world, right? And so, while we feel like adopting, yoga in the morning, a really healthy morning routine, going to the gym on a regular basis, all of these things that we know are going to be contributing to a better life for ourselves that seem just out of our grasp, and it's because we don't have enough time. Well, here's the truth. Not having enough time is an excuse, right? You always have time. And the truth is that when people say things like time is your greatest resource, they don't really know what they're talking about. And if this is something that you believe right now, you're kind of buying into a belief system that is not necessarily very accurate. Think about people that have all the time in the world, yet might suffer from some kind of chronic illness or some kind of, debilitating energy block, whatever it is. And these people might have an abundance of time, infinite time essentially, but they don't have the capacity to really leverage that time, right? That time is for many less of an abundant source, right? It's less of an experience of, overwhelming capacity to create or be present or whatever it is, and more of a liability, right? For, you could think of like the allegory of the cave and essentially a person that is in a form of prison. Having infinite time could even be a curse, right? And so it's not time that you're lacking, right? You have the time. And time is a foundation. You do need to be able to find a chunk of space in your day to create new forms of abundance. But the truth is that what you're lacking is energy, right? They who have infinite time but no energy have no capacity to create, right? They who have infinite time but no energy have no capacity to really leverage that time and turn it into something beneficial. And so, what I've been doing recently is considering the concept of reverse engineering, right? When I want to create something in my life, the first thing that I need is the drive. It's the inspiration, right? It's the motivation to get up and do something. Now, this isn't always present, right? Even if you are somebody that is deeply structured, you're somebody that is, deeply connected with the vision that you're trying to bring forth. If you don't have the energy behind that, even if you do have the time as the foundation, you're not going to be able to make any progress. And so, what you need to do is reverse engineer your life such that you know what it is that provides you energy. And likewise, you know what it is that steals your energy. And if you have access to this information, you are pretty much unstoppable, assuming you can come up with that foundational time. Like I said, you do need to have the foundation of the space created. But look at it this way, right? If you are somebody that maybe you work for yourself, maybe you have a little bit more of a flexible schedule within your professional space, that you're able to dictate your trajectory a little bit more than perhaps somebody that is pretty much controlled in every aspect of what they're doing, right? You probably know what I mean when I say that you've had days or even mornings, even hours, that were more productive than entire days or weeks or months. I know I personally have had experiences where if I was super, super motivated, I was super driven and focused, right? I would be able to get more done in 2 or 3 hours than I could in an entire week, right? Just because I was zoned in, I was present, I was passionate. And so the question that we really want to ask ourselves is, what is it going to take for us to tap in to this high energy, right? What can I do that is going to make me feel so motivated to take action and just crush things, right? That I'm able to really tap into that place, right? That flow state. That's what, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi calls it in his book Flow, right? It's that flow state where you are feeling like this guy Joseph Rodriguez on YouTube puts it a great way. He says, where challenge meets skill, that is where flow is created, right? And so where we feel stimulated, but we also feel focused, we feel motivated, and we feel connected to the work that we're doing, that is going to create this state of true passion, really, right? And so the question is, how can we tap into this on a regular basis? I think it comes down to a couple different factors. I think the first factor is knowing what fuels you and knowing what steals your gusto, right? For most of us, we operate relatively unconsciously. We don't know exactly what is giving us this energy. We don't know exactly what is taking from this energy, right? Our day is relatively inconsistent day to day as far as our presence, right? Our state of awareness. And so you might notice that as you start to become aware, you might notice that there are certain times of day when you feel really motivated, right? You might notice that there are certain times of day when you feel really sapped, right? When you feel totally just, conked out, and you want to give up, you want to stop. You might notice that there are activities that are regularly giving you energy. You might notice that there are activities that are regularly taking away from your energy. And so as you start to build this bank and you start to understand these things, you start to realize that if you were to deliberately do the things that gave you energy, right, in specific time pockets, if you were to give yourself the allowance to not do certain things, because you can do that. You don't have to do all the things that are stealing your energy, right? You might notice that they're not really worth doing at the end of the day, right? In the first place, they're not worth doing. Certain people, certain environments that you're spending your time within, right? These kinds of things are not necessarily, required. And it's up to you to give yourself that allowance to kind of let those things go, right? But do you have the strength? Do you have what's really required of yourself to give yourself that allowance? So step one is knowing the things, right? Knowing the good, knowing the bad. After that comes really blocking it out, right? Really giving yourself that allowance to be in control of your calendar rather than your calendar controlling you. And so with both of these things, it's easier said than done, right? It starts with awareness. It moves on to deliberately mapping it out. But with all of these things, you need to have a structure. And so what I've done is I've built a little resource that you can have, right? Totally free. You don't have to give any money for it, but it's pretty straightforward. It just asks you, what's fueling you, right? What's stealing your energy, right? And then it gives you a map of how to incorporate these things into your schedule very deliberately. Get rid of the bad, incorporate the good, so that you feel this state of flow on a regular basis. And I guarantee, if you guys start to do this on a regular basis, you're going to feel just better in general. You're going to have more focused energy. You're going to be more productive. All that's good and nice, right? Achievement is good and nice. But more so than anything, you're going to have more fulfillment. You're going to have more of a sense that you are in control of your life, right? That you are the main character. You are somebody that is fulfilling these passions and these desires and this vision that you have for yourself. And if you can do this, you're going to enter the 1%. I mean, there's not a lot of people that are sitting down very deliberately and saying, you know what whether or not I believe in like the new thought era, imagination is God, and I'm creating my reality and all that stuff, the bottom line is that you are more in control of your energy than you think. And the truth is that if this is confounding with your mind, if you're listening to this and you're like, man, this is really triggering me in a lot of ways. I want to comment some angry shit at this guy. I want to tell this guy he's full of crap or whatever. The truth is that you probably know, right? You probably know that this is true and that there's a lot that you could be doing to optimize on this stuff. Even now, I'm listening to myself and I'm like, Zach, there's a lot that you could do to go even further with this, right? But the process of this reverse engineering is incredibly powerful, and so I'm challenging every one of you guys that are watching this video to really dive deep, right? Really go into your own soul and your own, heart space and ask yourself, have I been doing everything that I can to reverse engineer the times that I feel good, right? The times that I feel bad, and even more than that, connecting deeply to my passions, right? Really feeling like the vision that I have is obligate to be brought forward. And if you start to do this on a regular basis, I guarantee your life is going to change completely. So, all that being said, little 10-minute video just to drop on you guys to start thinking about the power of intention and the power of reverse engineering high energy. Your energy is in your control. Can you be aware? Can you sit down and take the time to really create a life for yourself that just feels good? Right. So if you want that resource, comment below. I think I said like got a blast or something, some Jimmy Neutron shenanigans. So comment below if you want that resource. Happy to send it to you. But until further ado, until next time, you guys. I hope this was helpful. I'll chat with you soon. Take it easy.